Greetings everyone, my name is Zetterville, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Mega Maker. During the last part, I covered a bunch of levels in the most popular queue, so in this part, as promised, I'll be covering at least 5 or 6 viewer-submitted levels, starting out with this one. Which would have worked if the server didn't decide to error out, even though I tested it a whole bunch of times. Oh well. Snake Pit Trap by Dragon Paradious, 20 plays and a score of 8. Or Paradious, sorry about that. As usual, if you want one of your levels to be featured in a future part, please leave the level name or preferably the level ID in a comment below or direct message me on Twitter, and I'll eventually get to it and cover it in one of these levels, or one of these parts. So let's see, we have the Mega Buster, Star Crash, and Thunder Beam. And we have 2 pathways we can take. I suppose this is called Snake Pit Trap because this is Snake Man's stage, plus we have all those spikes and force beams. Interesting. And of course we have all those Sparkman platforms, which will launch us up into the spikes, and which will ignore invulnerability frames if we get caught by them. Well, that's an interesting gimmick. Also there's all these teleporters, which will teleport us back to the beginning of the stage, I suppose. Well, that was certainly a neat challenge. I suppose this is more like a challenge-based level more than anything else, because the enemies and gimmicks, specifically the Sparkman platforms, were introduced rather rapidly, and it was kind of expected that you already knew how these challenges would work in order to pass them correctly. Well, I don't mind it too much. I don't mind the occasional challenge-based level after all. Now I just need to get to that checkpoint without destroying the platform beneath it. There we go. Of course I could have just used the Star Crash to make it easier. Oh, that was a bit quick. I should have just slid over there instead of held the right button. Well, it's not too much of a loss. After all, I can easily just wail on this hothead. Oh, and also, if you want to see the full disclaimer of this LP series, the link to it is in the description below. Also, from here on out, I'll try grading levels from a score from 1 to 10. Until I create a better grading criteria, I'll just grade it overall from 0 to 10, or 1 to 10. Eventually I'll give some better indicators for each of the names for each of the difficulties, because usually I don't like to score things based off of a numerical value because of certain issues. But as long as you know my biases in terms of Mega Man levels, it's fine. But if you don't, the numerical system's a little bit too abstract. Or rather, it prevents you from knowing exactly what I mean. Well, I'll explain later in a special video of why I don't like to use the scoring system usually from 1 to 10. Okay, first segment with all of these Yoku blocks. And I completely flunked it because I bonked my head against the ceiling. Well, at least the checkpoint placement is relatively fair, although I would have liked one extra checkpoint nearby, but it isn't too far. After all, these challenges aren't that bad. I mean, it's only 2 screens away at the most part. Even challenges like these aren't that bad. Like here, I just gotta wait for this force beam to go, and then I can get down here. And of course I can just circumvent the challenge entirely by using the Star Crash. And there was a checkpoint right over here, so my earlier complaint is rendered invalid. And it isn't too far back anyway. Oh phew, I thought that there was going to be a red force beam at the bottom, but no, it was just a trap from the top. This is just a survival room where you need to deal with all these tellies and beaks firing at you. I suppose these rooms would be equivalent to the elevator rooms in Mega Man 7 or something. Or Mega Man 9. I probably should be using the Thunder Beam more so I can deal with these enemies from afar. I'm also going to be using the Star Crash here so I can get space physics. Oh my goodness, I got really panicky over there because I thought I was going to be embedded into the spikes. Well, I knew it wasn't going to be that easy, especially because from playing all these Mega Man levels, I know for a fact that there was going to be an extra challenge here. Well, this seems like a good place to put the big snaky boss at the end, but we don't have mini bosses in this engine yet. Maybe in the version 1.1 release. Oh, that was bad. I should not have done that. Well, that's it for me for this one. Let me restart the last checkpoint. Make sure not to blow that up. I know for that for sure now. Nice snake-like platform though. So I'm just gonna instead just get hit by everything possible and get killed over here. I know what I'm supposed to do there. I need to make sure to get on top of the platform over there so I can get by the challenge. Or of course I could just take the less risky route and just kill off this hothead and fail completely at doing it. Because once I get that bottom mega block destroyed, I can't cross properly. You know what, I'll just damage boost. The problems of course are with all these fire tellies, but as long as you can deal with them, they're fine. Yoku blocks, please. Okay, I'm just gonna wait for this pattern to subsist, and then I'll do it the next time. Oh, I see, I need to snake through at the bottom. Oh, that's a neat challenge, okay. A little bit scary there. Oh. Of course. I thought there was a spike over there, but it's only on the bottom side, thankfully. And now we're back over here. An interesting set of challenges for this this more challenge-based level. I do like it, it isn't too frustrating. And the challenges are introduced in relatively fair fashions, if you were to ask me. Though you gotta be careful with some of these platforms, like you need to know how the Yoku blocks work, as well as those what else are they called? And how some of these generators work, though, to proceed properly. Oh, I mean the Sparkman platforms, that's what I'm referring to. I really want to nab that E-tank because I don't know how difficult the boss fight will be. Too bad we don't have Snake Man in this engine. That would be nice. Oh, okay, so this is just for extras, I suppose. Oh. Well, at least I can reach the M-tank this way. I was hoping it would drop down, but apparently physics don't apply to the pickups. If you're wondering why I did that, I don't trust the spike hitboxes, as I've repeatedly complained that the hitboxes for spikes in this engine are rather uncharitable. Oh no, time to run. And of course there's stuff like that that can happen. Oh, I made it this time. Oh boy, a lot of these count bombs, but this segment's a lot less scary than it seems. As long as you don't end up detonating a lot of count bombs at once, you can get by pretty easily. And thank you for putting a checkpoint right over there. Really appreciate it. I'm just gonna take the safe route and destroy these openings and fight the boss. Pretty fun challenge-based level, just a little bit more challenging. Oh, we have a time limit here. Okay, his weakness is the elect beam, thankfully. We gotta be a little bit careful so we don't destroy the ground beneath us. That's certainly a nice challenge. Quite unique. But if you use this weakness, the elect beam, it's pretty easy to fight Pharaohman. But if you instead use the Mega Buster, it can be a lot more difficult. Otherwise, I like Snake Pit Trap. Pretty fun stage overall. Though I'd like to take one look at the beginning of the stage because I think I ignored a pathway. Specifically, the ladders to the left. I would at least like to see where it leads to. Oh, it's just for a large life energy and a hit and a sneak peek at the next part of the stage. Still, great job, Dragon Paradious. Nice escalation of challenge. The next level is also by Dragon Paradious, which is the Power of Flower short version. 25 plays and a score of 8. Let's see how this fares, and I wonder if it's another challenge-based level. Well, it's a gimmick-based level, that's for sure, because we only have access to a plant barrier. Cheeky way of saying to go left. Well, this is a life gate, which means that we only have 1 health to go through it. We'll only have about 4 health to go through this segment too. And the developer or designer of the stage also made sure that you can't just skip the challenge by letting that block go upwards, because otherwise you won't be able to slide through and you'll fall on the spikes. Okay, let's heal. Oh, clever. In order to pass through this gate, we need to have at least 7 health, but in order to do that, we need to basically get as many projectiles. Well, that's neat. Because now I'll take a hit here. And now I need to get down as quickly as possible and regenerate as much health. Well, that's a very creative way of having life gates and restoring them. Okay, I don't know if that was intended or not. Okay, we only have 1 health this time. That's good to know. Last time I think we moved around a little bit too much, so that's why I ended up dying. Now let me just wait for this bunny bot to fire enough carrots at me, and then I'll move downwards. Oh, okay, there are multiple of them. That's good to know. Okay, green force beams. Okay, I see what they want me to do here. Well, that was easy. This not so much. At least there was a good checkpoint placement. So I need to get through here as quickly as possible so I can survive. So let me just regenerate all this health. And kill off this Crystal Joe and get down here. Ow, that was my fault. They're back to full. This stage is really more like stopping and going and understanding how much health you need in order to progress to each part of the level. Oh, okay, so each of these footholders fires projectiles at me, which allows me to regenerate some health. Regenerate some health, and now we have the fire tellies. Thank you. I guess this is the... Okay. Okay, there's the boss fight against Metal Man. I see, we can now eat all his projectiles. Yeah, we're completely immune against his weaponry. Really, this boss fight is getting near him and using the plant barrier. It's a really easy boss fight, but it illustrates how powerful the plant barrier is. Well, this was certainly a unique gimmick-based stage where we had to understand how much health we needed, and we needed to go through each of these health gates used by the force beams quick enough. But this is the short version of the stage, so I suppose I would like to play the long version of the stage when it eventually comes out. So good job, Dragon Paradious, or Paradious. It was a pretty nice stage. The previous stage I would give about a 6 out of 10, same with this one. I would like to see a long version before I give my final adjustment, but at least both stages had good checkpoint placement and nice challenge escalation, more so for the first one. I didn't mean to do that. Sometimes I complain about these levels all the time. I wish there was an indicator at the top to indicate what sub-menu you're under. Alright, third level on this viewer-submitted lineup is Clashman Grey Revisited by JKS8213, 3 plays and a score of 0. And from their submission details, this is a revisit slash remake slash remaster of Clashman's stage from the ROM hack Rockman 2 Grey Zone. Eventually I would like to try out the Rockman 2 Grey Zone when I eventually get around to playing ROM hacks. As I've heard, that's a pretty decent hack at the very least. That's a really odd background transition between the city and mountains. Yeah, I don't think the background is set properly, because we have for some reason the background isn't transitioning properly, and so it's not seamless. It seems broke. It seems like we have just one screen where the background and then the next screen. We have almost every single special weapon, so I suppose... Well, this is... Because Rockman 2 Gray Zone's original Clashman level, I suppose, was more of a traditional Mega Man level. Of course, we should be able to get through it with just the Mega Buster. But of course, if we were going through Clashman stage last or revisiting it, I suppose we would have access to all these special weapons. But if we wanted to be more accurate, we would only have special weapons for Mega Man 2. Oh well. It's not too bad. How do I get at this? I'm trying to... I'll just probably use the magnet missile. That's what I need. Probably should have just used the magnet beam there. Let's see, how do I get back up here? Trying to get the magnet beam ready. That's wrong. Let's try doing this properly this time. That's what I mean to do. Now I can get past this entire segment with just an E-tank. And now an M-tank once I can get by that. Darn, I wish the weapon switch setup was a little bit better. Special weapon menu. Oh well. But good checkpoint placement, a little bit more on the generous side if you were to ask me. No thanks, the big eyes are too durable. Well, I do have a crash bomber, so them being too durable is no excuse. Plus now I can just easily deal with all these Sniper Joes and Hammer Joes. Once again, nice checkpoint placement. And of course I also have the rush jet, so if some of these segments are a bit too difficult, I can always just use that to circumvent them. Like here for example, where I can skip this entire footholder segment. I want to at least show how this one goes, so... Okay, it stops right in front of the boss door. Well, this was certainly a traditional Mega Man level, just a bit more challenging, but after all, this is a remake/revisit of the Clashman stage from Rockman 2 Gray Zone, so it makes sense. Though I feel it would be more appropriate if we actually had Clashman's team playing in the background, instead of Gutsman's team. Alright Crashman, let's see what your weakness is today. Not that. Not that. Not that either. Not your own weapon. Not that either. Well, I guess he has no weakness then. Wait a minute. No, he doesn't have a weakness. That's just an old Mega Buster. I'll just rely on that then and finish the boss that way. And that was the end of Clashman Gray Revisited. I never really played the original Clashman stage from Rockman 2 Gray Zone, so I can't really compare how accurate it is or how faithful it is to the original. But I liked it. Pretty nice traditional Mega Man level. And it feels like it has a traditional Mega Man length. Not the traditional level length from a fan game, but from the actual NES titles. So good work, JKS. Although personally speaking, I liked Uncharted Territory and Plantman's New Fortress more. Fourth level on today's lineup is Take Your Time for the Electric Funeral by MolePlay. 11 plays and a score of 3. So let's see what this level has to offer. Oh, and by the way, if I were to rate the last level from a scale from 1 to 10, it would also be a 6. To be fair, most of the levels I play in Mega Maker I would rate out of a scale of 10 of 4 or 6. 4, 5, or 6 specifically. Only very few levels actually go on a 7, and even fewer at 8. And this is certainly going to be a longer stage based off of the loading time. That was a little bit concerning of music hitching. Okay, Thunder Beam, Quick Boomerang, and Crash Bomber. I don't know if I can make that jump, so I won't try. I suppose if I could make that jump, there would be some secrets there. I'm not sure what this level type is, whether if it's a traditional Mega Man level, a fortress level, or more of a challenge level, or a special level, or gimmick level. I suppose it's either a traditional, fortress, or challenge level. Oh, fighting big eyes in that close quarters. Never really recommended. I want to go for those E-tanks. Well, that was very risky. I didn't know if I was going to make that either. There we go. Just make it so it actually fires upwards or starts standing, then fire at it with the elect beam. Solid way of dealing with them. I wonder how much damage the elect beam does against each enemy. If there's one thing I would like to see with this game, it would be a damage chart for all of the special weapons against every single foe. That would be really helpful for speedrunning. Oh darn, we also only have the Mega Man 4 Mega Buster. Meaning that even though it never gets dissipated, well, it also has a smaller area of effect, and I'm dead now. Oh wait, I have the Crash Bomb. I probably should have been using it more often. But it wasn't helpful because I got trapped by all these beaks. Whenever the music stutters at the beginning, I'm really worried that the game is going to crash or something. Speaking of which, I should be using the Crash Bomber here so I can deal with this gumball machine easily. Here it's fine because I don't mind taking some damage. Now initiate the Crash Bomber here and destroy the big eye. Okay, and I noticed something else. The big eyes were kind of nerfed because we can damage them even when their eyes are closed. In the original Mega Man game, I think you could only damage them when their eyes were open. I was suspecting there was something down there based off the graphics, but, well, it was just a bottomless pit. Well, there's no way of skipping this challenge. A bit too far. Not far enough, I mean. Almost there. This time I got it. So let's get out of here and see what... okay. That big eye room at the bottom was kind of a jerk move because if you don't button mash fast enough or use the Crash Bomber, you will take some damage. This is also rather precarious, mainly because of all these Sparkman platforms. I expect to be crushed at the top if I'm not careful. And my expectation was right. I have no need for getting the E&M tank down there, so I won't try going for it. I value my life and time more. I see. That's if I really want to... oh boy. I see what they want me to do here, and... you have to be quick in order to get across. Okay, you have to do it slowly, but take it one step at a time. Somehow slip off. Wonderful. Thank you, elect beam distance not being accurate. Oh, that didn't work either, and I died there because I wasn't fast enough. Only problem is some of these tellies are really hard to hit, plus the ice physics are not helping at all. Also, I can't attack directly upwards either, which makes it even more of an issue. I'm just gonna damage boost. That's always the safest approach. especially because I can't fire directly upwards. I have the elect beam, sure, but it fires direct in front of Mega Man, not above Mega Man. Okay, so there's a little bit more of a trap ones. I hear force beams getting activated. Maybe I need to run through the stage here. After all, force beams can hurt me from off screen, or they can get generated from off screen, so you gotta be a little bit careful. Did you just see that? The enemies just suddenly teleported in when I was just a few feet away from them. What happened there? Okay, we're now in the base. Make sure not to jump off the ladder here, otherwise you will die. And now go down here. Well, the stage's gimmick is taking your time, and I failed to do it over here because I rushed it. The main gimmick of this stage is more so patience more than anything else. That's the main way you'll survive this. And that was the engine's fault for clipping me through for some reason. This stage is gonna have the most deaths for sure. Most of them due to my fault, the rest of them because of engine problems, probably. I'm just gonna wait over here so I don't get killed by whatever random stuff happens. And I don't want to fall down there. I thought that was part of the background. I didn't realize those were spikes. They camouflaged right into there. Alright, let's do it correctly this time. Probably should change the spike colors over there so you don't get trapped. Or you don't get confused with what each of these mean. Oh no, this trap. I don't like it when the Sparkman platforms are this close to the ceiling. There's a lot of instant death in this stage, that's for sure. I don't know if that was intended or not, but thank you. So now here's the part of the stage where we need to stop being patient and start rushing forward, so we don't get instantly telefragged by all these force beams. Not telefragged, but instantly killed. That's me not making my jump properly. Okay, I made it, I think. Going down here quickly. I still take a hit somehow. Thank you for the good checkpoint placement. This is one of the stages that really needs checkpoint placement, because this feels like a combination of a fortress and challenge-based level. Maybe more like a fortress-based level, because it is expecting you to understand and get used to several gimmicks and really challenging configurations, especially the force beams and drops. I was wondering how to get up here. I thought I would have to topspin bounce or something. Nope, it's just all those Yoku blocks. Oh no, this thing again. There are no Sparkman platforms, so I shouldn't worry about falling into spikes, though. And I feel like the difficulty curve of the Yoku blocks is going in a reverse direction, because it was a lot harder before. Now it's getting a lot easier. I'm hoping I'm getting near the end of the stage too, because even though there's some relatively solid challenge progression in terms of instant death hazards and the Sparkman platforms, I feel like the stage has gone on for... Okay, let's try this again, shall we? With less fail. Really have nothing more to say about the stage other than I praise the challenge progression, but I would say that the challenge progression of the Yoku Box has kind of gone reverse. It was considerably harder before combined with the force beams, but now it's getting a little bit easier. Maybe the developer is lightening up because of the other challenges that are popping up. If there's another thing I've noticed about the developer of this level, it's that they're really generous with the M-tanks and E-tanks. Unfortunately, we only have access to... We can only hold up to one M-tank, so having all those M-tanks isn't really helpful, other than for backup. That's it, I'm going up here. Oh, there's no goodies that are an extra M tank, so I won't use them. If there are two things I'd like about this stage, it's a solid challenge progression, the fact that it has a lot more instant death, but most of them are done pretty fairly, and the checkpoint placement is very good in comparison to the difficulty, or relative to the difficulty. Let's see, what is his weakness? Of course he's immune against that, so it's probably Crash Bomb. But we need to get to the bottom, of course, and okay, Sparkman glitched the... okay. Sparkman is somehow glitching through the platforms there. Of course, the bottom part of the stage consists of spikes. What else would it be? And I glitched the platforms again. Let me try doing this properly. The only thing that really brings down the stage is some of the clipping issues, as you may have seen there. Of course, there would be a bed of spikes there. As I was saying, the only thing that really brings down the stage is the engine's issues with clipping objects. But otherwise, I like the stage. And that can happen too. Again, engine problems. I'm not going to blame the designer for this, for the engine developer's follies. At least I know he doesn't have any weakness, so I'm just going to rely on the Mega Man 4 Mega Buster. I don't know why I keep glitching right through each of these blocks, even though I'm standing right at the proper angle. Same with Sparkman, actually. See, I glitched through it right over there. I don't understand how this is supposed to work. And then Sparkman somehow glitched himself through several blocks, the spikes at the bottom, and fell into the bottomless pit. I don't know what about this engine, its many clipping issues. In the original Mega engine, which Megamo 2 uses too, I never had all these issues with clipping through objects, even when I coded the falling platforms, so I don't get it why we keep glitching right through the platforms even when they're falling. Guess they need to rework their collision code a bit. Still, I enjoyed this stage MolePlay. I already gave all my thoughts and feelings on it, and I'll give this a 7 out of 10. Definitely my favorite stage out of this part, even though it's rather difficult and I died a lot in it. Fifth level on the lineup is To the Top by Laonic, 9 plays and a score of 3. I hope it's a shorter base level, or even if it's a challenge level, I hope it's not too difficult. Either it's easier or shorter. Already it looks a lot easier. Only have the Mega Buster and Top Spin, but shouldn't be too bad. I believe this will also be a mostly vertical stage where we're ascending a tower of sorts. Okay, forced usage of Top Spin here, but it's fine because they're tellies and they infinite respawn, so it doesn't matter if I run out of weapon energy too much, because I can easily restore it. Good checkpoint placement. All levels in this part had good checkpoint placement, with special mention going to Take Your Time for the Electric Funeral. Especially because the designer understood that the stage was more difficult, hence why there should have been more checkpoint placement. Or more frequency of checkpoints, which many designers, especially novice, intermediate, and even some experienced ones, forget to do sometimes. A little bit more of a fortress-based level in regards to difficulty, because some of the gimmicks aren't introduced directly. Okay, skip that pad and I'm just gonna go directly down, I see. right into the forest. I guess we jumped off of the right side of the tower and now need to reascend it somehow. That's the jump button not working. I was hoping I could rush past all of these batons, but apparently not. Well, I guess I can. It was really tight over there, but somehow I did it. The only thing that killed me the first attempt was the jump button failing to register. I see. It's one of these segments now. Yeah, I destroyed the first two Yamasees, that's why I fell to the abyss. Oh, that was a bit close over there. Really, the stage's main gimmick is bouncing off of these topspin enemies and, well, ascending a tower. At least there's some unique combinations like combining some of these gimmicks or challenges with a topspin with having to detonate all these count bombs. That's a little bit unique. And now we're at the boss gate. Well, the intermission room first, which I'm going to restart from because I'm really running low on health. And now time for the boss fight against Stone Man. The only thing that's assisting him is, of course, that shotman. Not helping. Especially because I can get stun locked if I'm not careful. Let me guess. No, it's not his weakness. I had a small hope that the topspin would be his weakness. And that was the end of To the Top, or Top to Top, where we started out by ascending a tower for the first half of the stage, and the second half was going through a forest, using the topspin to bounce off all those Yamasees. Pretty nice stage overall, so good job, Laonic. And now it's time for the 6th and final level of this part, Super Mega Brothers The Lost Levels World 1-1 by King Mart 64, 23 plays and a score of 3. King Mart 64 is another level creator I'm quite familiar with as I played a bunch of the levels before, and they're usually pretty good. The previous level I would rate 6 out of 10. So of course we start at the castle. We're probably going to have as close as a recreation to that level as possible. And of course we have no special weapons other than the Firestorm. These would originally be question mark blocks, one of these with a poison mushroom, but here, well, they're just junk blocks. Well, not junk blocks, dust blocks. Junk blocks are something else in Sparkman's stage. I would have liked the ability to bonk enemies on the head using something like the topspin, but of course the topspin is so powerful I can just phase right through a lot of enemies, that's why I don't have access to it. Most of these enemies are rather weak, but I suppose it does make sense because this is World 1-1. Oh yeah, this is a pipe. And here we get a lot of coins, but instead we get a lot of power-ups instead. And a shortcut, I see. Oh, too bad, we can't go down this pipe. Perhaps if this was customly coded, we could. Oh, I see an interesting interaction going on. If I actually start the Firestorm when I'm submerged in water, the shield portion isn't created. Oh, I see there. If I do this, I'll be able to get the checkpoint as an extra, and I get to the end of the stage. I guess this is one way of actually putting the top of the flagpole flag by just using a checkpoint marker. Well, it's been quite a while since I last played Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels, so I'm not sure how accurate it is. At least the first half, that one pipe, and the last flag portion are relatively accurate. Still, I would have liked it if we could actually bonk enemies on the head, but of course the top spin being the closest one won't work because the top spin is too powerful. Still, I like the stage enough, though I give it a 5.5 or 6 out of 10 because I wish there was something more done with it. So overall, I covered 6 viewer-submitted levels in this part. My favorite level of this bunch would of course be Take Your Time for the Electric Funeral. It was certainly a longer challenge-based level, but the level designer really understood where to put checkpoints and how to use and introduce new gimmicks in easy to tougher configurations and have a nice sense of challenge progression. Sure, I did die a lot due to a combination of my incompetence, not understanding the gimmicks, not being patient like what the title suggests, and due to some other engine bugs with clipping. But other than that, I quite enjoyed the level, and I would like to play the designer's other levels in the future. An honorable mention goes to the Power of the Flower short version. It was a nice, fun, short little stage that illustrated usage of the plant barrier and how you need to regain enough health to go through all those health gates. It was fun. Well then, thanks for watching and have a nice day. Toodles!